They taste a rabbit.
So, in normal Mendelian genetics, you got a tall, you got a dominant allele, and a recessive allele. And each individual gets one of these from the dad and one from the mom, right? So you could be big T, which is tall. You could be big T, which is tall. Or you could be little t, which is short. 2 alleles, 3 possible genotypes, 2 possible phenotypes, tall or short. Are y'all following me here? It's not that way with every trait. Here's an example. There's 4 different alleles in rabbit coat color. There's 4 different alleles. Big C is brown. Little c, CH is chinchilla. Little CH is Himalayan. And little c is white. Now, there's what's called an order of dominance. This brown is dominant over all of them. This one is dominant over these 2. And this one is dominant over that one. And this one's recessive to all of them. And you know, you only get 2 alleles. There's 4 of them out there, but you only get 2 if you're a rabbit. You get one from your dad, one from your mom. So what if you are a big C, what color are you?
Brown.
What if you're a big C, little c, CH? What are you?
Brown.
Still brown. What if you're a big C, CH?
Brown.
Still brown. What if you're a big C, little c? Still brown. There's a lot of ways to be brown. What if you are CCH, CCH?
What? Chinchilla.
You're chinchilla. Are there other ways to be chinchilla?
Yeah.
CCH, CH. There's also CCH, little c. Those are all chinchillas. Making sense here?
Yeah.
What about Himalayan? How do you be Himalayan? CHCH
Or CHC.
or CHC. And how can you be white?
C.
That's the only way to be white. Does that mean there's less white rabbits than all the other types?
Probably.
Yeah.
No, not necessarily.
Well,
Why not?
never mind.
They're all
If you're a white rabbit and you marry a white rabbit, what kind of kids are you going to have?
White
rabbit.
And what if they all marry white rabbits and have white kids? And what if you're in an area where there's snows everywhere?
You're gonna have more.
You're not going to find any brown rabbits, are you? They all die. And it leaves the white one. So it doesn't necessarily mean there's more brown, even though there's a lot more ways to be brown. Now, it could be there's more brown, but it doesn't necessarily mean that. The area could easily favor white rabbits. And we know there's a lot of white rabbits out there, right? So here's what I want you to do right now. I want you to mate this one and that one and tell me what you get. Do it on a piece of paper.
This is the piece of paper.
Where did you put it? Oh, the best.
Simple, fun, and square. By the way, we call this multiple alleles.
have is that big C or little C on the right one? Okay, good.
Where?
Right there.
Here?
Yeah.
They're both little C's. The only big C is the brown.
We got a bit of a problem here.
A brown mates with a chinchilla, what do you get?
Brown shoulder. Or about brown shoulder. Yeah.
Did y'all get some Punnett square that looked kind of like that?
Yeah.
Heck yeah. So what are your percentage of the phenotypes? How would you say that?
2 to 1 to 1.
Oh, good. Somebody said 2 to 1 to 1. I like that. It's a 2 to 1 to 1 ratio. 50% are brown. 25% are chinchilla. And 25% are Himalayan. You may run into problems. Blood type is also multiple alleles. There's more than 2 alleles for blood type. Blood type problems are common. There's IA, that's the type A allele. There's IB, is the type B allele. And there's little I, which is recessive to both of these. That's the type O allele. What do you think it's, if you're type, does anyone know their blood type in here? What type are you?
Type O.
You're type O? So what are you?
Little I, little I.
You're little I, little I. What are you?
A.
You're type A, so what are you?
A, little I. Or I. Big I.
IA, little I. You could be that. Is there anything else you could be? What's that?
My dad's type
Oh, so you know he gave you a little I. But you could have been, if you didn't know about your dad, you could have been that, right?
O. Right.
So there's a lot of different things you can be. Anyone else know? Yeah.
O negative.
You're O negative, so you're little I as far as. The negative and positive is a different gene that codes for something called rhesus factor. So you're type O and you have the rhesus factor gene. And you don't have the rhesus factor gene. That's O negative. So what's the most popular blood type? Do you know?
Type A.
AB.
AB.
AB is the least.
Oh.
And only 4% of people, something like that, are IAIB. So that's very rare.
Isn't the O negative?
It's O. Most common is O. That's another case where it's the recessive one, but it's the most common. If you're type O and you marry someone who's type O, you're going to have type O kids, and you can have a whole bunch of them. Doesn't matter that it's recessive. Recessive doesn't mean uncommon. They're going to get you on that, on the test. They're going to ask you a question and make you think that recessive means uncommon, and you're going to get it wrong. So, get rid of that out of your head. Recessive could be very common. Okay? So that's called multiple alleles. Whenever you hear multiple alleles, it means that there's more than 2 alleles. It's not just big T, little t. There might be 4 or 3 or 6. Who knows? They might give you a problem, something you've never heard of, where there's 8 different alleles. Here's the blood type. There's a type B mating with a type A. Now let me show you a quick shortcut. If you ever have to do a Punnett square and you want to save some time. Let's say we're mating this one with that one. You don't have to write CCH, CCH, mating with CH little c, and do 4 of them. Since those two are the same, you can just do 2 of them. And you'll get the same answer. Ready? You getting this? This is good stuff.
This is good stuff.
I gave you a good shortcut. That's a much easier Punnett square, right? Well, it's only a little bit easier, but you'll see when we start to do your real big Punnett squares, you want to save all the time you can. Look at this Punnett square. This individual mating with that individual. Can you make that Punnett square easier? You can knock off that whole column, and you can knock off this whole row. And just do that. There's only one possibility when you make these two. Type AP. You're going to want to save time on the AP exam. Okay? Is this fun? Are y'all having fun?
Yes.
Hey, check it out. It's a fruit fly with legs on its head. That's a mutation. A mutation can arise in an individual and cause differences. And it's usually due to some protein not being made correctly, which causes problems. This is talking about eye color. No, wait, this is talking about malaria. Not sure why they're talking about malaria here. Let's go on to eye color. A guy named Thomas Hunt Morgan studying fruit flies, and he saw the wild type. And by the way, you'll read about the wild type. And I always remember when I read wild type, I'm thinking this wild, fly running around. He's crazy. Wild type means usually found in the wild. This guy, Thomas Hunt Morgan, the way he collected his fruit flies was he set a piece of fruit out on the windowsill, and the flies would come onto it, and then he'd capture them. And so he would look at the fruit flies under the microscope. There's a little sleeping agent you can put fruit flies to sleep with pretty easily. Put them in a jar and just drop a cotton ball with some chemical on there. They'll go to sleep, so you can examine them real closely. Doesn't kill them, but stops them from moving around. Well, he noticed under his microscope, he'd look at the eye color of these fruit flies. And he noticed the wild type eye color is red. Most fruit flies are red. But some of them had these brown eyes. The color is called sepia. And some of them had white eyes. These are mutations, he said, different from the normal wild type. Okay? And so he would cross different flies to try to predict the outcomes, and he got real weird numbers. And he noticed that it was sex dependent. Whether you got red or white eyes or sepia eyes was often dependent on the sex of the fly. We call these sex-linked traits. There's a white-eyed fly and a red-eyed fly. Red is the wild type. White is the mutation. So, what he found out was this white gene was on the X chromosome. And when we say that it's on the X chromosome, I don't know if you remember, I put my chromosomes away. If you remember chromosomes, but the X chromosome in humans is a real big chromosome. And the Y chromosome is real small. You all remember that? The Y chromosome only carries, I don't know, like 30 genes or so. The X chromosome carries hundreds. And so the X chromosome can carry a lot more information. It turns out that the eye color gene is on the X chromosome. So they're using a W, big W. You often see it as an R because R means red. But what they're saying here is big W means red and little w means white. I like using big R and little r. You can use any letter you want. The letter doesn't matter. So the wild type XW means red eyes. X little w means white eyes. And remember, a female is XX. A female gets 2 X chromosomes. A male is XY. Now, the Y chromosome does not carry any information about eye color. There's just nothing on the Y chromosome that contributes to eye color in either way. Jossie, you with me here? Hang with me. So, if you're, there's several different possibilities here. So you can be X big W, X big W. What are you there?
Red eyes.
Red eyes. What if you're X big W, X little w? That's also red eyes because big W is dominant over little w. The only way to get a white-eyed female is X little w, X little w. Now that's pretty rare because the white-eyed gene is a rare gene in the first place. So it's pretty rare to get a female with 2 of the recessive chromosomes. Now what about the males? The males can be 2 things. X big WY, that's a red-eyed male. X little WY, that's a white-eyed male. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
All right, if it makes so much sense, here's what Morgan did in his lab. Why don't you do this for me? Mate a white-eyed male with a normal female, a red-eyed wild-type female. Mate those 2 on a sheet of paper. Fly mating. By the way, flies are easy to work with. They have a whole new generation every 2 weeks. You can keep them in little vials, little plastic bottles. They don't eat much. They're easy to do genetic studies with. One problem is you got to keep your capital W's and your lowercase w's, you got to make them different looking, or else you'll get confused. Tell me the percentages of your offspring. Or write it down on your sheet. Break it up by male and female. Write down what the offspring look like. They got white eyes, or they got red eyes.
Aletta Kate, Mitchell, you can come here for school front office. Thank you.
Nice. Yes. 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 How we doing?
I can't read that. What's it say? Wide.
Nope. Yep.
Heck yeah.
Yes. Yeah. All right, simple enough? Did anyone use the trick?
Oh, no.
You only need one side there, don't you? Because this has two of the same. Did you waste time?
Yes.
You didn't have to. So that is, wait, why are y'all packing up? We have 6 minutes left? Don't pack up when there's 6 minutes left. It's the best 6 minutes. White-eyed, red-eyed male, red-eyed female, right? That's it. 50-50.
Wow.
Red-eyed male, red-eyed female. That's what he got. Take a look at this square. Here is a that's a red-eyed male, and that's a white-eyed female. You get red-eyed female, and again, you could have not done the right side of the square since both of those are the same. But half red-eyed females and half white-eyed males. So it's weird the way things work on this. Can you guys read that?
Yep.
What's it say?
57.
Heck yeah. How about that? Heck yeah.
The camera's
This is
colorblind.
color blindness in people. Color blindness in people is a sex-linked trait. It's on the X chromosome. So there's a lot of guys with sex-linked traits. You hardly ever see girls with sex-linked traits. Color blindness, you only see in guys. Why don't you see color blindness in girls? Because the girl has to get 2 X chromosomes, both with the colorblind gene. And that rarely happens. A person that was colorblind wouldn't see numbers there. It all kind of looks the same. Now, this is a pedigree showing a sex-linked trait. What do you notice about this pedigree? Only males are affected. Usually, in a pedigree of sex-linked traits, you only see males affected. Now, try this one. Can you tell me, based on this pedigree, what the genotype of that female is? Write it down. This is, let's say it's color blindness. X little c is the colorblind gene. What would she be? I'll wait 20 seconds. She's got a son who's colorblind. What's the genotype of the son?
X little c y.
That's the genotype of the son. So what does the mom have to be?
X big C, X little c.
She's got to be X big C, X little c. She's not colorblind. So you know she's got an X big C. She gave it to her son. The son gets the X little c gene from his mom. Why doesn't he get it from his dad? Maybe he could have got it from his dad. He got the Y from the dad. The Y always comes from the dad. Your mom doesn't have a Y. If you got a Y, guys, you got it from your dad. Which means all of us guys in here, we got the X chromosome from our mom. Go home and thank your mom for your X chromosome. Thank your dad for your Y chromosome. So we know this. If you know this about sex-linked traits, you can figure out different things on the pedigree. What do you know about this girl right here? She's got 2 X's, one from her mom and her dad. So her dad gave her the infected X with the recessive. She's a carrier. If your dad's colorblind and you're a girl, you're a carrier for colorblindness. And you could have a kid that's colorblind.
Whack.
Isn't that interesting?
Very.
If you give that X to your son. So okay, so finish reading the section. Mr. Willis